What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to my very first Pokemon Scarlet and Violet guide. Now if I'm low energy, it's because I have done nothing, and I repeat nothing except for play this game since probably 1 a.m. last night. Not even 1 a.m, like 11 p.m. Like I've just been non-stop grinding this game except for like a 5-hour nap I took. So that being said, I'm still playing the game, but that doesn't mean that I can't actually take a look at these stats of the Pokemon that have already been officially announced and actually give some moveset guides to you guys. And while I do know every Pokemon in the game at this point, I will say that we're going to start off doing moveset guides for things like CYCLIZAR, which is today's, Titan, Farigiraf, the things that are already announced, because I'm gonna wait a couple of days to get to the stuff that isn't officially announced, so I avoid spoiling people. I'm just trying to be considerate. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Now, CYCLIZAR is the dragon normal type that was revealed pretty early in the trailers, and it's a really cool Pokemon. So it has this exclusive move called Shed Tail, which will allow it to cut half of its HP and in place make a substitute that uses half of the HP. I can't stress like that part enough. It's actually a very bulky substitute. And then it automatically switches out, giving that substitute to whichever Pokemon comes in. This move is busted for singles, and I think that it can actually have a place in VGC, which is why we're going to talk about it today. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the first moveset. But actually, let's talk stats. What am I saying? It's got 70 HP, 95 attack, 65 defense, 85 special attack, 65 special defense, and 121 speed. Now that 121 speed tier is very good. That means that you're naturally outspeeding things like Tornadus. I believe you're slightly slower than things like Noivern, but also just being above that like 110 speed tier is really it's all you need to be like a really good support Pokemon. So yeah. I think the only things it really has to contest with as far as speed goes is you're underspeeding one of those new dark type legendaries that I'm not going to say the name of, but you get outsped by that one. But beyond that, you're basically at the top of the speed tier. Like I think the only relevant thing you actually have to think about is like Dragapult. So yeah, it's got 95 attack, which isn't that great. And it actually lacks really good setup moves. It does have shift gear, but I don't actually recommend that for the most part. I think this is gonna be more of like a fast support mon. And as far as like special attack goes, you know, all dragon types have decent special move pools, and while 85 isn't like the worst special attack, I will say you won't really want to lean into that too much. But yeah, and Dragon Normal, obviously, it's a pretty decent typing. You're weak to fighting, you're immune to Ghost, and I think that's your only immunity. Yeah. And as far as the dragon type weaknesses, you're going to be weak to ice and dragon and fairy. So while these are pretty decently common typings in VGC, I do think that ghost immunity is actually pretty decent considering how good ghost types are. So let's get into the first moveset. The way that I tend to do these moveset guides is I like to start off with what I call my splashable moveset, and then I do my personal favorite moveset, and then I do the fun moveset that I don't always recommend, but you might get away with. So for the splashable moveset, we're going to go with the Focus Sash set. Now, this one doesn't take advantage of Shed Tail, but this is like a moveset you can use if you just want like a general attacker. And I will say this is a pre-meta look at a Pokemon, which means that we won't get too specific with EVs that, you know, oh, you need to be like this exact speed tier to outspeed this very specifically good mon. Like, we don't know that yet. So this is like a first cursory glance at this Pokemon. You're going to be using the Focus Sash, the ability Regenerator. You're going to have max speed with the Jolly Nature, max attack, and 4 HP. And your moveset is going to be Dragon Claw, U-Turn, Knockoff, and Protect. Now, this is not a very bulky Pokemon. Like, that's why it's a good Focus Sash user. You'll be able to like eat one terastallized hit from pretty much any Pokemon. And by the way, terastallization is like not really a thing I would recommend for this Pokemon. If you need to terastallize into anything, all of these movesets, I'm going to recommend just Terra Dragon. That is my recommendation. You don't want to Terra this Pokemon. It just does not seem to be worth it in any case. But yeah, because it's like not a good offensive Pokemon, but this is an offensive set. So we're going to run Dragon Claw, U-Turn, Knockoff, Protect. Why is this a decent moveset for it? Well, for one, while we are lacking normal stab, that isn't the most important thing, considering one of the stronger normal moves that this Pokemon gets is like Body Slam, which, yeah, you don't want to run that too often. But Dragon Claw is fairly okay Dragon Stab for doubles. It's 80 base power, obviously with Stab that becomes 120 base power. You have Knockoff, which is actually not a super well distributed move that has high value. because what it is a dark type move with 65 base power that will remove the opponent's item and get a 50% boost in power if it does remove an opponent's item, and then it goes back to 65. So you can use this sort of thing to remove choice specs, to remove not focus sashes because you're dealing damage, but you'll remove like safety goggles, you'll remove berries. It's a very good tool, and especially in best of 3 VGC, knockoff is your best friend because it's not only a tool for dealing damage and removing items, but it's a tool that I like to call an information tool. If you're in a situation where you have a CYCLIZAR versus 3 Pokemon and 2 of those Pokemon revealed their items and 1 of them has not, go ahead, take that last turn before you lose and knock off that Pokemon's item and find out what it is, so going into game 2 you know what it is. Like, that is the value of this move. Also, it's just generally pretty strong. But yeah, with U-turn actually, CYCLIZAR isn't a bad lead. You can get faked out, obviously that is a thing that most Pokemon can do. If you want to run Covert Cloak, go for it. It blocks fake out, or it blocks fake out flinches, so that's kind of cool, but I recommend Focus Sash generally. And U-turn will allow you to do something really cool. So the Focus Sash is especially good on this guy because when you combo it with Regenerator, if you get any kind of chip damage, like let's say that like Hail chipped you 2 turns ago and you're above 70 health, 70% health, you can U-turn out and go back to full health, and then you have another opportunity to use that Focus Sash. Also, just generally speaking, U-turn plus Regenerator is one of the best combos in the game, so that's just like a really nice tool for this sort of Pokemon. But yeah, this is the splashable moveset. There isn't much to go into. It's a normal Dragon type. You're gonna hit opposing Dragon types decently hard. Like, you outspeed Garchomp, but you're probably not going to one-shot it, so maybe just Dragon Claw it when it's at like 50% health or lower, and then you KO it. You take the rough skin damage, and then you U-turn to heal that off, and then you have your Focus Sash back. That's the general way this Pokemon's going to play. For the next set, which is what I would refer to as my personal favorite, or the set that I find to be the best, is going to be a Shed Tail set. Now, like I stated earlier, Shed Tail uses half of your HP to make a substitute. That is very, very bulky. Most Pokemon don't use half of their HP. The move Substitute uses 1/4 of your HP. So the way that Substitute works is you take that HP, you manifest this creepy little doll, we'll call him Frederico, and you put Frederico on the field, and he takes damage for you. He makes you immune to anything that isn't a sound-based move or an infiltrator move. So that means that you're immune to like Intimidate, Sleep Powder, all those sort of things. Any stat drop that isn't based off a sound like Growl or Snarl. I like mixed 3 words together, but yeah, it's a very useful move, and Shed Tail taking half your HP to do that is very big. But not only that, but it also switches you out and grants that giant HP substitute Frederico to the Pokemon that's coming in. There are many Pokemon that can combo into this, but we'll get into the most important one of those in a second. The rest of the set is basically just going to be Citrus Berry with that Regenerator ability because it combos with Shed Tail very good. Obviously, every time you Shed Tail, you get 1/3 of your HP back. The moves are U-turn, Knock Off, Taunt. So the stats on this guy are going to be 244 HP, 12 attack, or 12 defense. You can put it wherever you really want to. I'd recommend the attack so you're not like hitting things with a wet noodle. And you're going to run max speed with the Jolly Nature. So yeah, basically the whole gist of this thing is you are one of the most annoying Pokemon ever. You go ahead and you lead off with this Pokemon. You go for a Shed Tail, eating half of your HP, and then when you go down to half HP, CYCLIZAR is going to eat a Citrus Berry, which will regen 25% of your health. So that puts you up to 75%. And then you switch out, getting the next Pokemon back in. And when you switch your CYCLIZAR back in when it needs to come back in, because you were at 75% health when you left the field, the Regenerator will top you back off at 100. Now, this only works to put you back up to full health once because of the Citrus Berry. So once that Citrus Berry is gone, the next time that you do this cycle, your CYCLIZAR is going to go down to half health and then switch out and then come back in with 80%. And then it goes, and then, you know, it takes 50% of the health again. Your CYCLIZAR goes down to 30% health. And then it goes back up to 60 when it comes back out. And you do this, I think that's like the last time you can actually do it. No, you can go down to 10%. So you get like 3 or 4 of these maximum. That's a very broken thing. And the reason this is very broken is because of the Pokemon that CYCLIZAR can combo into. The one I'm going to recommend the most is going to be Azumarill. Now, the reason Azumarill is actually a very good CYCLIZAR partner is because CYCLIZAR is a normal and dragon type, and Azumarill is a fairy and water type. Everything that CYCLIZAR is weak to, ice, fighting, not fairy, fairy's neutral, but fairy, dragon, Azumarill can switch into very easily, and it's a very bulky Pokemon with access to Belly Drum. And, of course, the terrifying Aqua Jet, and it has the ability Huge Power. If you know how Azumarill works, basically you get the Azumarill in, and then you Belly Drum, and then you Aqua Jet, and you win. But the thing with this is, the Azumarill no longer is weak to Spore. It can't be spored behind that substitute, and it gets in for free. It's basically a free switch into an Azumarill that may get off a Belly Drum, and if your opponent fails to KO the Frederico on the field in front of this thing, then the Azumarill can just get out of control. So yeah, but yeah, obviously there are a lot of things that you can combo with CYCLIZAR with. I'm just listing Azumarill specifically because I think it's one of the highest potential ones, but you can combo this with, I don't know, like a Titan if you really feel like it. I don't know, like just, there's a lot of potential for this, but that's the Shed Tail strat. Beyond that, like I said, you only have 12 attack, but you can still make use of things like Knockoff as a support tool, U-turn to get in and out of the field in case you make a bad lead, and also you can use that just to regenerate a few times. You can shed tail, right? But next time you come back in, instead of shedding your tail again, you can just U-turn back out and then get back to full health. This thing has insane potential as far as just passing annoying shed tails is. So yeah, and of the final move I'm going to recommend is actually going to be Taunt. Taunt is a relatively good support move. You're 121 base speed. You can prevent Trick Rooms with that thing. You can prevent Encores, any support move, any non-damaging move, you just prevent it. So yeah, very cool tool. And the final set that I call the fun set is Shift Gear. Now, this is a set that is probably not that good, but it's basically the exact same as the Focus Sash set. But instead of running Protect and U-turn, we're just running Shift Gear and Body Slam because we want to deal maximum damage with this guy, and this is going to be the only time I recommend you would terrestrialize this thing. If you manage to get a Shift Gear off, which is going to give you +2 speed and +1 attack, you're outspeeding basically everything in the game at that point. Go ahead and hit him with like a Terra Normal or a Terra Dragon move. Who cares? Have fun with it. But yeah, that's going to be my basic moveset guide for CYCLIZAR. Like I said, it's a pre-metagame look at this thing, but I think that this has potential to be one of the most busted Pokemon we've ever seen if people play it right. I will say that like it is, you can get into a situation where it's like, oh, I'm basically playing with 3 Pokemon because my CYCLIZAR is dead weight. Be careful with that, but this thing can enable some busted strategies if you play it right. So yeah. I would recommend running it next to a Mungus or Clefairy if that's in the game. I'm actually not sure if Clefairy is in the game. Let me check. It is not. Amoonguss. Amoonguss is a good partner. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed, please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because I'm going to bring you guys a lot of moveset guides in the next few days. I'm going to try to make 2 today. I'll probably cover Titan after this. But yeah, this was CYCLIZAR. Subscribe. We're almost at 50,000. Have a nice one. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.